There are aliens living on the moon. In an interview, former CIA pilot John Lear stunned the world by disclosing appearances, names, and details about the location of millions of humanoid aliens residing on the moon. Lear has abundant evidence that these beings visited our planet and continue to do so today. He also said that there are underground cities beneath the surface of the moon where gray aliens reside. According to the former CIA pilot, there are laboratories in these underground towns where genetic experimentation is carried out. But back to the beginning. Former CIA officer John Lear and 4 of his associates organized a recruitment of people with advanced extrasensory perception. There was a strict selection of 5 stages. Each of them was required to name the items hidden in the box. Out of 2,800 people, only 2 managed to do it. There is no need to rely on luck here since the objects were particular: a pyramid of malachite, a dog figurine, a feather of a bird of paradise, a handful of pumpkin seeds, and a tuft of coyote wool. Agreed, it is impossible to guess such a set. Recall that in a highly classified project conducted first in a California research lab in the 1970s and later at an Army base in Maryland, the CIA, Army, and Defense Intelligence Agency recruited men and women claiming to have powers of extrasensory perception, ESP, to help uncover military and domestic intelligence secrets. Those tested by Lear were Colorado resident Mark Stevenson and Washington suburban resident Amelia Leeds. However, John Lear did not complete his research on this. The next stage consisted of several questions about the mother of the former CIA officer. The questions were as follows: date of her death, cause of death, her profession, and her favorite musical group. Surprisingly, both participants plunged into a half-asleep state, and returning from it, they gave the correct answers. Both psychics coped with the task. This selection was intended for a further interesting experiment, which was conducted in 2012. The task was very simple: to find out from people who can plunge into a state where the answers to the questions posed are revealed whether there is a civilization on the moon. Neither Mark Stevenson nor Amelia Leeds knew about this beforehand. The survey was carried out simultaneously in 2 different rooms to exclude forgery. Here is what the psychic man said: the moon was inhabited more than 100,000 years ago. Then, in the depths of the Earth's satellite, there was an ocean, and large cities were located around it. Small creatures lived there. Among them were gray dwarfs, pale, thin humanoids, and winged miniature creatures, 5 civilizations in all. These creatures cohabit today deep below the surface of the moon. There is much less water there, but for now it is enough. Dwarfs from the Earth's satellites have visited our planet more than once. Their settlements are located in South America, Central Asia, Siberia, and Africa. Amelia Leeds was no less aware of the mysterious civilizations of the moon. About 110,000 years BC, a catastrophe occurred on the moon that destroyed the atmosphere and actually made the surface of the Earth's satellite uninhabitable. The original inhabitants of the moon were ready for this and descended into deep hiding places. At the same time, water seeped deep into and filled the cavity in the center of the cosmic body. There, the cities of fairies, gnomes and dwarfs were formed. Many of them still live and develop there. Unfortunately, these small creatures have almost no conditions for a high technical leap. The extremely meager variety of substances on the moon does not allow for building a large number of spacecraft. However, they managed to create a few and fly to Earth. Now some of them settled in the Earth's cavities on our planet, and some live on the moon. Sometimes you can see how small disc-shaped objects take water with plankton from the ocean to breed similar life in the depths of the moon. In addition to water, the lunar inhabitants are mining metals on Earth. 2 people, not knowing in advance what will be discussed, practically, 1-to-1, described the existence of civilizations on the moon. John Lear wrote a whole book about it and claimed that the whole experiment from beginning to end was real. As for the fate of psychics, Mark Stevenson died of illness in 2009. But Amelia Leeds opened her school in South Korea, where she trains Asian geeks to connect to information flows, which, in her opinion, psychics use. John Lear began his creative biography in the 1980s and 1990s when he began to speak publicly and disclose confidential information. And here is one of his statements. In 1953, an alien ship crashed and there was an alien on it, which we called EB-3, and who then helped the US government build a spaceship using alien technology. In 1962, we had vehicles that could not travel faster than the speed of light, like the alien vehicles, but were fast enough to reach the moon in 60 minutes and reach Mars in a few hours. The first flight to Mars took place in 1966, says Lear. In the 70s, before NASA allegedly began to destroy the photos taken by Apollo 8, 10, and 11 and published in the 1971 NASA book SB-246, it was possible to see the city, the space base, pipes, roads, vegetation, lights, mining facilities, and a nuclear reactor. This required extraterrestrial cooperation, as many structures on the moon were already there before the operations began. This has been done for the last 40 years. According to UFOIC.com, John Lear's father was also not an ordinary American but was involved in anti-gravity technology programs in the mid-1950s, which are now completely secret technology. According to Lear, everything we know about the moon is a lie invented by the government for the specific purpose of hiding its extraterrestrial activities and programs. It also suggests that the fact that there are many habitable planets in the universe, such as Earth, has been hidden. I can't prove it, or I'd be dead by now. I can't show you a photo of the Enterprise right now, even though it exists. But these are exactly the technologies that emerged after the US government invested billions or trillions of dollars in all of Tesla's research, says Lear. Most striking of all, however, is the statement made by Lear that Earth is a planetary prison and acts as a correctional facility where prisoners must reach a higher level of consciousness,